Granada.
Granada será nueva ya.
Viva camarada presidente Eduardo Santos!
¡Viva!
A paz unida!
Abaixo!
A paz Costa unida!
Abaixo!
Morta unida!
The most promising children were selected for special education. Forcibly taken from their homes or schools, they were brought here, 20 miles off the coast of Cuba, to the Isle of Pines. Thousands of miles from home, a half-world away from family and culture, a vision was impressed upon them by their Cuban and Soviet mentors.
Now they have their very young people coming from Africa. They teach them, there's very young people, very easily to assimilate without questioning the ideology that is imparted by the government or by African Marxist instructors that came with them.
Down!
Down imperialism!
Down!
Down fascism!
Down!
Down fascism!
Down!
Down regionalism!
Down!
Down fascism!
Down!
A luta!
Continua!
A luta!
Continua!
A victoria! Patria muerte!
It was the 2nd of November 1984 when the Cubans came to our village. I tried to stop the Cubans from taking my son, my child, away. Then one of the Cubans cut off my arm with his bayonet. They were capturing the children from the age of 10 and upwards to take them to Cuba.
And your son, how old is he?
He was 12 when he was taken away.
O povo angolano chora hoje em dia. O povo angolano só implora harmonia. Condena russos e cubanos, terror de todo o povo angolano. E por causa da confusão que até agora tem crescido, e por causa do mercenarismo dos cubanos, reis do terrorismo. Lara, 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 lara.
With the collapse of the coffee and mining industry, oil has become Angola's principal source of hard currency. Ironically, the MPLA's major partner is the U.S. petroleum giant Chevron Gulf. The partnership began under the Portuguese and continued under the MPLA. Royalties from Western corporations maintain the government in power, providing money to pay for Cuban troops and Soviet guns.
February of 1976, Gulf was back in, pumping the oil again, with Cuban soldiers protecting their installation and their technicians to defend them from CI mercenaries who were still mucking around northern Angola. Try that for an irony.
The real thing is that the MPLA stays in power because of this financial income. From this financial income depends the presence of the Cubans and the Soviet hardware, military hardware.
Luis Negrete was the director of Cuba's automotive industry until his defection in Spain.
The first pact to exchange military technology between Angola and Cuba was signed in 1979. A price was set. The Angolan government had to pay for each man sent to Angola as well as his upkeep. This means that Cuba profits greatly for this internationalist aid it lends Angola. It's a big business where the Cuban government makes big profits.
The Cubans are not the only ones to profit in Angola. Texaco, General Tire, the Chase Manhattan Bank, and IBM all have participated in over $1 billion in annual U.S.-Angolan trade. But with hundreds of millions of dollars in assets, Chevron Gulf became one of the single largest Western investors in Angola. Will Lewis, manager of Chevron Gulf's oil concession in Angola.
Chevron has no intention of pulling out of Angola. We intend to continue to do business as usual, fulfill all the terms of our contract over here, and in fact, subject to termination of our current negotiations, successful termination, then we intend to expand our operations into the new concession area.
Some have justified stronger economic ties because with them would come an opportunity to bring about change.
And never, the economic aid or the economic assistance will change the nature of a Marxist government to a democratic government. No, I never saw that case, that the Marxist government, a Marxist party, a communist party, will change its nature because you will be $10 billion more.
For many years, Cuba provided the Soviets with a perfect partner in Africa and Latin America.
Cuba has played the role of a surrogate like no other Soviet ally could play. It is itself a third world country. Fidel Castro himself is a third world leader and has had a tremendous international visibility. So Cuba has been extremely important in playing a role that no other Soviet ally could play. And in turn, Fidel Castro has been willing to play that role. He's been willing to dispatch Cuban combat troops to Angola, 36,000 to Angola, 12,000 to Ethiopia, 1977, 1978. This, in turn, has advanced, of course, Soviet objectives in Southern Africa and the Horn of Africa. But Fidel Castro has also been able to further his own ambitions. Logistically, the Cuban army depends totally from Soviet Union. Castro can develop a guerrilla warfare by its own, but he cannot move a military unit by his own. And that's the difference. You can call it coordination, you can call it what you like, but he cannot do it without the consent. Who will have a strategic aspiration in Africa? The Soviets, not the Cubans. So if the Cubans are acting, it's because they are acting in favor of the Soviets, you know. That's why they are in Ethiopia and South Yemen, in Bab el Mandeb. That's why they are in Angola.